I have to admit, so yesterday I took the counsel of the NFL insiders as being accurate. And I have been very big on disinformation, misinformation. Rap Sheet put out that they're keeping Aaron Jones because you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Jesse, Jason, the news breaks that Josh Jacobs signs probably at like 12:30 or 1 o'clock yesterday, right? Is that about the ballpark or when it broke?
Definitely after the show, yes.
1 o'clock-ish,
So
yeah.
I text both of you. I said, I can't believe Aaron Jones is gone. Something of that ilk. And then Rap Sheet, or maybe it was, does that mean Aaron Jones is gone?
Bye-bye,
Something
I believe
that
was the choice of words.
Bye-bye.
Yes.
And then Rap Sheet comes out, and I see it on different social media channels that doesn't mean it. Aaron Jones is staying. And I'm thinking, oh, baby, I like that. I Kirk Cousins that. And yesterday was just such a whirlwind of,
Great
I think,
word.
from a Packer fandom standpoint. And I know you are not a fan, Jason, but it went from we discussed this 2 weeks ago where you said, are we talking enough about Aaron Jones? That's, well, he's not leaving. And I got in my head, and by the way, you were on that same page.
I was. No doubt I was. Yes.
I believed Goody, and I just believed that Aaron Jones' market value is going to be stronger in Green Bay. And by the way, it was. I think the Aaron Jones – I think if Rob's reporting is accurate, and I trust Rob, the Packers asked him to take a 50% pay cut. That would be about $8 million a year. He was supposed to make 16.
No, he was supposed to make 13 and an $11.1 million base salary. So we're talking 5 to 6. He's getting 7 reportedly from the Vikings. Look, this is where I wanted. Look, there's a lot of news, right? Xavier McKinney is a very good safety who is coming in a position that's very important. But the Jones thing is the one that
storyline of the day is Aaron Jones. It's Aaron Jones because he is the heartbeat. You're going to put him in the pantheon of great backs in the history of this organization.
Third all time.
He's not Ahman Green. He's not Ahman Green, in my opinion. Ahman Green had better stats. The deal is he was so vital to what this group did. And yesterday was another stark reminder, and the great video that I sent Jesse that you were supposed to send and we were supposed to do it digi-only was
my fault.
That Goody continues to remind you he wants young players, and it's a young man's game, and thank you for your service.
But bye-bye.
If the price point ain't right, deuces. So I think we all looked at it. And for me, it was, I can't believe they signed Josh Jacobs. Awesome. I think Josh Jacobs is a really good back. But was that going to be at the expense of Aaron Jones? It was. Now Aaron Jones does what most former Packers do and what the Vikings love, is grabbing the older version of those Green Bay Packer players. So while I think everybody is excited about McKinney coming on a high-price deal and Jacobs, the overarching thing, you couldn't even barely say thank you to David Bakhtiari before everything else just went boom, boom, boom. So welcome. I don't think you can say Goody is Ted Thompson anymore, Jason Wilde. I don't think you can say that that's how the approach is. Goody's got more Ron Wolf in him than he had Ted, and yesterday was another great example that he was going to be aggressive when he felt like it, and he pulled the trigger on a bunch of very bold moves. Whether or not that's going to make this team a championship contender, we don't know. But when you let an Aaron Jones walk out your building, you better hope Josh Jacobs is really good because that comp is going to line up too. But again, youth, and I think on a very nice team-friendly contract that they got Josh Jacobs, I think you have to tip your cap to Goody again because he made another really hard decision. And I think the market kind of indicated that what he and Russ Ball thought was what ended up happening when it came to the running back position.
Do you have some dramatic music for me, Jesse, that you could play? Not the da 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 da. Do you have some like dramatic instrumental music?
Something big happen again? Something
No,
big?
I want to read
Breaking
this.
news?
I want to give my interpretive reading of this tweet.
Okay.
I just have some special music that I had
No,
prepared.
then I
thinking
don't
we
want
were
that.
gonna-
The Goodinator strikes again. Packers
yeah.
now have the best 1-2 punch at running back in the National Football League. That will make LaFleur's offense even more effective in the play-action game. Brought to you by Freezing
it's
Cold
not-
Takes, Mark Tauscher.
So it's going to end up being a cold take, but that
On
doesn't mean
Thanksgiving,
it's not going to end up
2024.
We don't know if it's going to be right. I anticipated Aaron Jones being a part of it, like I think Ian Rappaport did and a lot of NFL insiders did. But that's not the case. So I wonder now, what does that mean for A.J. Dillon? Green Bay is drafting another young running back.
Sure.
This Jacobs deal is basically a one-year deal. I think it'll be for 2, but 12.5 guaranteed. They can get out of it at any point.
That $14.8 million they're paying him next year, this coming
Do
season.
you think-
$14.8 million.
So he's got 2. It'll be a 2-year deal then. Do you think Aaron Jones regrets how this shook up? Because he put a couple tweets out that he has since deleted, basically saying that Rob's reporting, and I think there's a Bukowski put something out, and he put a little thing underneath, basically saying cap, which, as we in the hip world know, means that is not accurate. The reporting that's been done.
So the report that I read, the first one that I saw, was from Diana Rossini of The Athletic, along with Matt Schneidman, reporting that they asked him to take a 50% or more pay cut to return in 2024. His total compensation for 2024 was supposed to be $13 million. His base salary was $11.1 million. First of all, I think we need to, some people anyway, because we did not besmirch him on this show, but some people owe Tom Silverstein an apology, because Tom Silverstein reported this from the scouting combine. He had clearly talked to Drew Rosenhaus, and Drew Rosenhaus clearly had said to him, hey, man, I think they're going to want him to take a pretty big pay cut, and Aaron did that last year. I don't think he wants to do it again, and it's no slam dunk that he's going to be back. And Tom reported that, sourcing, and that's exactly what ended up happening. So kudos to Spoon. Secondly,
Yeah, nobody doubts Spoon on this show. At least I don't.
No, I know, but there were in the Packers Twitterverse there was,
Sure.
and that was because everyone believed what Goody said, which was that he would absolutely be back, including us.
Yeah.
And so I look, I understand it's a young man's game. I understand that the running back position is devalued. I understand that it's a cold-blooded business. It ain't show friends, it's show business. I understand that if I was the general manager of the Green Bay Packers, Charles Woodson would still be playing in the nickel, and Jordy Nelson would still be at wide receiver. I get it.
You'd have gotten fired. You'd have gotten fired a long time.
Well, I'm just saying if I had managed to keep the job, because I had a Hall of Fame quarterback who'd also still be the quarterback, and so they'd still, if he didn't rupture his Achilles on Lambeau Field,
Would you have kept
still been
Favre? Would you have kept Favre and not put Rodgers in?
No, that was
No,
one. That
because
was
Favre pissed you off with that Vontae Leach thing. So your ego would have said, "Get the hell out of here."
It would have been
Brett.
personal.
I want my guy
Right.
in here.
Yep, exactly.
I got my guy in here. He came and told me I did a good job. Okay, that's fair. That's
Right.
actually going to be accurate reporting by you.
I'm setting the stage so you understand that I understand all these points. But help me understand how and how many times did I say on this show that I've never heard a general manager speak so definitively about a player. And I remember sitting in the media auditorium thinking, I can't believe he said that. I wonder if that will come back to haunt him when he said that he'd absolutely be back. I'm curious, how does that happen? And B, look, you are one of the rare examples, you, Leroy Butler, a few others, who spent your entire career in Green Bay. But, hey, the Chiefs were ready to sign you. They didn't pick you back up after you had your second ACL, and they were ready to move on from you until they realized Alan Barber wasn't very good. So you were on the precipice of playing somewhere else. But what I don't get, and help me understand if this is not that valuable. But like they issue these statements after the release, and he's so important in the locker room, and he's the heart and soul of this team. I don't understand how that does not have fiscal value to a team, especially when you don't have anyone else who fits that suit. Yes, Jordan Love will grow into a greater leadership role. Yes, I like Jaden Reed as a guy who seems to have some leadership qualities that will grow into that role. But for a team that is still quite young and a team that had a locker room filled with guys who looked up to him, who, oh, by the way, set the franchise record with 5 consecutive 100-yard games to finish the season, including 2 in the playoffs. So it wasn't like he was just some sort of leadership figurehead who couldn't play worth a damn.
Still a great player when he's healthy.
I am a little confused as to how you can say it was the hardest decision you've made or one of the hardest decisions you've made, as Goody said in the statement, but I'm not sure it was that hard of a decision. And I feel like he, unlike me, and that's why he's great at his job and I would be terrible at it, there is no emotional connectivity whatsoever to these decisions. And the idea of keeping a guy and maybe paying him a little more than the market deserves because he's the heart and soul of your team, because you have young guys who look up to him, I guess I thought that had a little bit more value and it would have made sense to keep him around. Am I just naive? Am I just stupid? Help me understand this, because I don't think that's an unreasonable opinion to hold about this specific player.
Yeah, it always comes down to money. I mean, that's always going to be the overriding thing for everybody involved. That's just the nature of capitalism and football. It doesn't matter what business you're in. But there are intangible things, and that's why I really felt like the value for Aaron Jones to stay in Green Bay was going to be important. And from Goody's standpoint, all of the things you just said, with all of the youth movement, all everybody talks about is that how important Aaron Jones was, even when he was hurt. And there, of him going and, helping Jordan Love and doing all this stuff, there's a big value in it. But the bottom line is this is a cutthroat business.
Sure.
And you can be the greatest leader ever, and you can still be, it still comes down to, can this cat play? And is it going to be worth it at that price point?
Seems he can play still.
Aaron Jones's injury history hurt him. And I think Goody felt like Aaron Jones was going to be tied more to the Packers and would give up a little bit more, and they were trying to utilize that. And when Aaron Jones said no, they moved in a different direction. Now, if Josh Jacobs didn't agree, do I think that Aaron Jones and the Packers would have probably figured something out at about $7 or $8 million a year? Yeah, I think that probably would have been the case. But Brian Gutekunst wants to get younger. He wants to get cheaper at that spot, and I think that he accomplished that goal. So for as much as we all want to Pollyanna everything and say, this guy's a great leader, this guy is bringing this to the table, can he give you 20 carries a game for 17 weeks? Is he going to give you the production you're looking for on a consistent basis? And if he's not, you're dispendable.
Yeah,
that's what happened.
I just want let me clarify something quickly here. Aaron Jones, since Matt LaFleur took over as head coach, his season games played numbers: 16 out of 16, 14, 15, 17, and then 11 last year. So he has not been injury prone. That's not accurate of how he has been. He obviously missed time last year with the knee and with the hamstring. No denying that. Played 11 games last season out of 17. I get that. Played both the playoff games. And again, he wasn't just some, I like Mercedes Lewis. I believed that for $2 million, he would have been worth keeping last year to help all those young guys and to be the extra blocking tight end who came in when you were obviously running. That was what I believed. But let's be honest, we're not talking about the same guy here. Aaron Jones is not Mercedes Lewis. Aaron Jones had 5 consecutive 100-yard rushing games to end the year. You want to look at why your quarterback was as good as he was. Yes, it was because he was good. Yes, it was because the offensive line coalesced and looked a lot better in the second half of the year. But he also had Aaron Jones playing at a pretty darn good clip in their 4-game winning streak and their loss to the 49ers. So it's not like you're just bringing him back for sentimentality. He also had production. And again, Aaron Jones is not one of my guys. Aaron Jones was everybody's guy. Like, I don't have any, it's not like he's my Devontae Adams. Like, he didn't give me more than he gave other guys. So from a reporter perspective, that's not it. I understand there are fiscal considerations and that money usually rules all. But is it possible that on occasion there are players, because this was what Aaron Rodgers' argument was, there are a handful of players that it's worth keeping and having them, getting rid of them a year too late instead of a year too early. The 3 that spring to mind are Aaron Jones, Charles Woodson, and Jordy Nelson. And remember, Jordy Nelson got pushed out the door in favor of Jimmy Graham, and Jordy Nelson still caught 60 balls in Oakland that year. So he wasn't washed. I'm not. And the other thing I'm a little worried about now for Aaron Jones' sake is I'm already seeing this on social media. Like, how dare he go to the Vikings? So the Packers don't want you. They dump you on your ass. And then how dare you go to the Vikings? Like, come on. We got to be better than that, don't we? Can't hold that against him. The Vikings, by the way, desperately need Aaron Jones. They moved on from Dalvin Cook last year. They moved on from Alexander Madison. This year, they needed a running back. I don't really know what the heck they're doing up there. All I know is I feel like Aaron Jones was one of the few players that was worth holding on to, perhaps past his expiration date. And that opinion is fueled by the fact that the general manager said he was absolutely expected back. And if Goody hadn't said that, maybe I wouldn't think that way.
I see what you're saying, but the bottom line is you are not paid on past performance. You never are. It always comes to what will you do? How is Aaron Jones going to play the next 3 years? Will we look back at this and say, what a mistake? Because you've probably said the same thing about Mike Wall, Marco Rivera, TJ Lang, Josh Sitton, and you can go through a long list of guys that were great players here and then went and got big contracts somewhere else. And was there ever a time that you said, son of a gun, did we miss?
Nope. You're right.
That's a third contract, and Aaron Jones is in that third contract. So I get it.
He's not in his third contract. He's in his second contract. He had a year. And by the way, and this is not directed at you, I don't want to hear anybody pissing and moaning about players that hold out ever again. This guy signed a 4-year, $48 million deal. He took a $5 million pay cut last year to stay. They wanted him to take an even bigger pay cut this year to stay on a contract that he signed. This is not Major League Baseball. This is not the NBA. You don't get guaranteed the whole salary that you get. $48 million contract. You don't get all $48 million. Just like Josh Jacobs probably won't of his $48 million deal.
No, I guarantee you he won't.
So the point is, for me, this is the one guy, and I'm not saying you sign him and you keep him till he's 37 years old. I'm saying you take a smaller pay cut for him this year, and you keep him for this year. And you do pair him with Josh Jacobs because you do have the cap room to do it. And it allows him to be limited in how many times you have to expose him to injury. And you've got your tweet is the reality, and that's a pretty damn good combination. I'm not saying he deserved a 3-year extension.
The question and what I think happened was Aaron Jones and Rosenhaus looked at it and said, we already gave you a big pay cut. You need us. We are the heartbeat. You said all this, and now you're asking me to take a cut down to 5.5 when I know we can get at least 7 from somebody else? Why can't you throw us the sprinkler and give us the 8? And Goody said, because your market doesn't dictate that, and that's not where we're at. So we're here. You tell us how you want to approach, because we want to be as fair to you as we can. And Aaron Jones said, I think I deserve better. And where the Packers sometimes get it wrong is that they feel, that they get this and they'll want to have some sentimentality. They don't have a ton of sentimentality.
No, they don't.
It's about what you're going to do moving forward.
Yes or
no? And
no?
that rubs players the wrong way. But by the way, and I said this on Ian and Amber last night, you could say all that, but what happens, Packer players always come back and say, this is the best place we've been. I wish we wouldn't have left. And this is just the brutal, cold, hard business that sucks. But you know what? In 3 days, we're going to be all raving about Josh. And until we play the Vikings, the Aaron Jones part of this is going to be bye-bye. That's how this business works.
Yes or no, as a Goody stan, so you can tell us about Gina Della, who you love even more than you love Goody. Yes or no? Did Aaron Jones deserve better from the Packers? Because, let me be clear, I agree. I don't think they're going to regret not having him, like, oh my God, what a huge, huge mistake it was. But, again, under the parameters of your tweet that was accurate for about 8 minutes, they could have had a hell of a tandem in their backfield, which Goody believes in.
Yeah.
Did the Packers, did Aaron Jones deserve better from the Packers? Yes or no, from a Goody stan?
It's business, baby. It's business.
That's not a yes or no.
Listen, in an ideal world, yes. The NFL's not an ideal world. The NFL is a cold. When you get to March, you just said it. It ain't friend business, man. It is about business. Are you going to deliver? And can we put $20-some million into the cap at the running back position when we're going to draft somebody? The answer is no. You can't. So once you decided to sign Josh Jacobs, it was deuces to Aaron Jones. Is that fair? Is that fun? It does suck. It would be great if we could all sit here and kumbaya ourselves all the time. It's not the NFL, man. That's why you're not cut out for it. You would not handle that.
No doubt
because
I'm not.
It rips. It is a slap to the face deal, and you have to be willing to turn the cheek and fly up to Minneapolis and then come back and try to shove it down Goody and LaFleur's throat next year. That's how you have to be wired to be an NFL football player.
The free agent negotiating window opened yesterday, and a gale force wind blew through Lambeau Field, is the way I wrote it in the State Journal, because clearly that window was not a Pella window that was closed nice and tight and sealed and kept that winds of change from blowing through.
Well, now that things are settling in, you've been looking to replace those broken windows or doors, or if you just want to revitalize your home with a new safety and a new running back, get that new look, now's the time to get it done. Packers did it yesterday. You can do it today, because from now until March 31st, you can get 0% interest for up to 3 years at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. That's right, Pella now and pay later. 3 years later, in fact, ordered by March 31st to get 0% interest for up to 3 years. Set your free consultation today at PellaWI.com. Certain restrictions do apply.
Did Aaron Jones deserve better, yes or no? Tausch didn't answer it. We'll take your calls. Also, are you excited about Xavier McKinney? Are you excited about Josh Jacobs?
I feel like this is an Aaron Jones show today. I feel like this is an Aaron Jones show today.
I am giving people the option to mention other things, but yes, I don't know. I don't know how a guy who was by the organization labeled the heart and soul of the team doesn't merit that conversation and doesn't deserve better, but I am open to being convinced, and I do think it's interesting that you didn't actually answer the question. 844-770-37.
I did answer the question. You didn't
yes
like the answer.
No, it was yes or no.
I don't have
and
to
you
answer.
said it's business.
Hey, media man, I answer the questions the way I want to. Yeah, this isn't me forced. I'm not going to be forced to answer how you want it, Johnny Media.
Yes
I'll
or
answer it the
no?
way I
Not
want
that
to.
hard.
No, it's not how it works.